Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3, back with another kicking, you guessed it, graphic novel review. Been doing a lot of Venom recently, trying to catch up on my favorite Marvel character. So a lot of this stuff I read for the first time, but I always go through it again and pick stuff out for the review. Today we are reviewing Venom Unleashed, Volume 1. This is a collection of Web of Venom books, like Web of Venom one-shots, all collected together. There's one that's not in this book, and it is in the Venom War of the Realms book, which I have reviewed. It's about Carnage. It sets up Absolute Carnage, which most of these do. Almost all of them do. It's pretty cool. So, I am going to get into this and read you the back of the book for Venom Unleashed, Volume 1. Sinister Tales from the Web of Venom. First, journey back in time to the United States struggles in the Vietnam War. Nick Fury needs a secret weapon to turn the tide. But when archaeologists discover an ancient creature, he has found the solution. Or has he found a waking nightmare? Then reacquaint yourself with the sickening sociopath called Carnage. You thought Cletus Cassidy was dead, but a cult devoted to the madman has gathered, hoping to resurrect their fallen idol and return his madness to the Marvel Universe. And take a journey through Eddie's old haunts in San Francisco, from the perspective of his alien other. But will Andy Benton, formerly the symbiote wielder known as Mania, join the growing pile of bodies on the path to absolute Carnage? Collecting Web of Venom, Venom, Web of Venom, Carnage Born, Web of Venom, Venom Unleashed, and Web of Venom, Funeral Pyre by Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman, Colin Bunn, Juanan Ramirez, Danilo S. Baruth, Kyle Hoyts, Juan Gideon, Alberto Albuquerque, Joshua Cassara, Mark Deering, Scott Hanna, Livesay, Roberto Paggi, Victor Olsba, Felipe Sobrero, Chris Peter, Dan Brown, Matt Yaki, Andrew Corselli, and Carlos Cabrera. Rated T for teen. Now, Venom Unleashed Volume 1. Don't know why Carnage is the only character on the cover of a book titled Venom. Probably because you're supposed to read it before Absolute Carnage. It's kind of a 90s looking cover art, to be honest. I like it, though. It's dope. I love my monstery symbiotes. So this one shot is about like Rex. Remember Rex from Volume 1, as well as Nick Fury, and also Wolverine, because you know Wolverine's been around forever. The symbiotes that were pulled from the Grendel. Remember the Grendel, which is the big symbiote dragon. Nick Fury found it in the ice. He thought Hydra was tunneling. They didn't find Hydra tunnels, but they did find the dragon. He pulled some samples of the dragon that turned into more manageable symbiotes, gave them to a group of soldiers, sent them into Vietnam to kill people. But they tortured the Grendel to see if they could find its weaknesses. That drove it insane. So when they pulled parts out of it to make symbiotes, those symbiotes were insane. And they're null symbiotes. So, you know, they're pretty vicious. Pretty vicious. This is basically a prequel to Volume 1 of Venom, this issue. Nick Fury recruits Wolverine to go to Vietnam with him to get the symbiotes. They find a lot of dead people on both sides of the war. And we find out that Nick Fury didn't even go. He sent one of those SHIELD LMDs, life model decoys. Yeah, Logan really kicked some ass. But yeah, they got Rex and brought him into SHIELD, and also they put the others on ice because they couldn't remove the symbiotes from them without killing them. We also get some story about Carnage. Apparently when Cletus Cassidy was born, he was strangled by his umbilical cord because there was no doctor there to help. His mother just had him in the Ravencroft Institute for the Criminally Insane in a padded room. but he came back to life like 19 minutes later. Well, 19 minutes, 38 seconds. Came out dead, came back to life, deprived of oxygen, caused his psychosis, but it kind of seems like Null did something maybe to bring him back to life. It talks about how he sees himself as freeing his victims, gives a recap kind of how he became Carnage. We see Scorn talking to the cult about Null and how they're gonna get Cletus back. Basically, it's a history of Cletus Cassidy, pretty much. How they got his body back, what happened to the symbiote, how they're resurrecting him. They have a little piece of the Null symbiote, and they inject it into Cletus Cassidy's body. Brings him back, but also gives him visions of Null, and he wants more visions of Null. So what he does is, he decides that he's going to start ripping. Remember, in Venom Volume 2, I told you that when a symbiote leaves, that the reveal that a symbiote leaves a portion of itself in the spinal fluid of any host. Remember, I said that would be important. And it is, because that's what Cletus Cassidy is doing. He decides he wants to kill everyone who's ever worn a symbiote and suck out their spinal fluid. Does it to Scorn. And he gets a whole list of people that have worn symbiotes, like the Wizard, Boomerang, Red Hulk, Scarlet Spider, Black Cat, Hammerhead, Norman Osborn, Spider-Man, all the Life Foundation symbiotes, Mania, anyone who's ever won the Venom symbiote that wasn't already an established character, Deadpool, the Silver Surfer, Rocket Raccoon, Scorpion, Wolverine, Groot, so many people that have worn just any symbiote. Captain America, The Thing, Captain Marvel, Man-Wolf, because he had the Carnage stuff on him, Hawkeye. And actually a ton of characters have worn symbiotes, because if you remember, was it Mighty Avengers? Bendis's Mighty Avengers, I reviewed all his Mighty Avengers and New Avengers stuff forever ago. I think it was in his Mighty Avengers run, symbiotes rained from the sky and infected all of New York. I don't know if that's going to be addressed in Absolute Carnage, but most people in New York were symbiotes for a while. Symbiotes, I don't care. Were symbiotes for a while. And I feel like that's just being ignored. Does no one remember that? I think I only remember it because symbiotes are my favorite thing in Marvel. But yeah, then we get one about Venom's other. Because when it kind of got brain damaged, basically, when it was protecting Eddie from the fire and stuff in Volume 1. And now it's kind of a dog, like a literal dog. It's like the form of a big pit bull. And it's not sentient like it once was, but it's still like a little smarter than a dog. It hunts down these people that came for Eddie Brock, and it finds all these people that are possessed by Carnage, fights these big mech suits, and he finds these Carnage worms inside people that are controlling him, finds this huge, freaky, underground Carnage city, and he brings the slug worm Carnage things back to Eddie, and he's like, crap, Carnage is back, and my symbiote's heavily damaged, and we get all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And then we get to see the hero formerly known as Mania, Andy. She I don't think I ever reviewed Venom, the Land Where Killers Dwell, where she becomes Mania. I think that's actually the only Agent Venom thing I haven't reviewed other than his Space Venom stuff. I need to get on that. Can't believe I skipped that. But yeah, she's having a lot of PTSD from being Mania and just the symbiote affecting her mind. Because remember, the Mania symbiote was the cloned Venom symbiote that Venom took into itself, and then when he protected her in gym class, it attached itself to her. But she also has a hell mark, like a pentagram, so she can summon demons and hellfire and stuff as well. She's got that power. Well, Carnage shows up at her house, rips her aunt in half and hides inside her, waiting for Andy to come home. Carnage chases her, kills anyone that gets in the way. So she goes out to the woods to lead him away from people, summons a bunch of demons to fight him, but it turns out he's been powered up a lot. The Hellfire doesn't really hurt him as much as it should. He slaughters her demons. She takes on this hellish form to fight him, but the Hellmark teleports her away when she gets heavily injured. Teleports her to where Eddie Brock is, because it still has use for her, and she tries to find Eddie Brock, but Venom can literally sense her wherever she is. It seems like Venom can sense the people that have worn a symbiote, which is... Not Venom, Carnage can sense those people, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, that's really it for Venom Unleashed Volume 1. It's got great art throughout. It's different from book to book, but they're one-shots. It's a collection of one-shots, so that's to be expected. You know what I mean? That's very much to be expected. But it was a very good book, and you need to read this before you read Absolute Carnage. It's heavy setup, so you really need to read Venom Unleashed Volume 1 before Absolute Carnage. And Absolute Carnage is the next thing I'm going to read. The next order I read things in will probably, and review them in, will probably be Absolute Carnage, Donny Cates' Venom, Volumes 3 through 5. Volume 3 is Carnage tie-in stuff. The first volume of Demon Slayer, and then probably the Aliens Omnibus, Volume 1. I'm not going to review any other volumes of Aliens for the same reason that I'm not going to review any more of the Predator volumes. I reviewed the first 2 Predator Omnibuy, and then there weren't any left in the store. It looks like all the Alien, Predator, and AVP Omnibuy stuff from Dark Horse was actually removed from Kindle. I bought them on Kindle instead of physically because the physical books are upwards of $100. So, yeah, not affordable, and they weren't worth it anyways because I didn't think they were that great. At least not every story in them was that great. So that's it for Venom Unleashed Volume 1. I don't know how many times I've said that already. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. We got Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. Been posting a lot about comics on the Twitter recently, so definitely check that out. But that's it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all next time.